A massive new iPhone 18e leak just hit, and if it's accurate, Apple is finally killing the one thing everyone has hated about budget iPhones for years, that old school notch. And here's the crazy part. Most people still think the E series is just Apple recycling an outdated design, swapping in a newer chip, and calling it a day. But this time, the leaks are pointing to a move that could genuinely make older iPhone users feel jealous, because the biggest upgrades might not be coming to the expensive Pro models first. They might be landing right at the entry level. While the internet argues about titanium, periscope zoom, and whatever ultra feature Apple is saving for the top tier, the real fight is happening where Apple sells the most phones, the affordable iPhone that normal people actually buy, and the iPhone 18e is shaping up to be Apple's most aggressive budget to luxury bridge ever. Because according to supply chain chatter, the iPhone 18e isn't just getting a spec bump, it's getting a design identity upgrade. The notch is rumored to be gone, replaced with Dynamic Island. That's huge. Dynamic Island is one of the most recognizable new iPhone features of the last few years. It doesn't just modernize the front, it's functional. It gives you live controls and status updates without hijacking your screen. Music playback, timers, maps navigation, sports scores, ride tracking, calls, voice recording, and live activities that actually feel like part of iOS instead of a notification spam bar. If the iPhone 18e gets Dynamic Island, it instantly stops looking like the cheaper iPhone and starts looking like the iPhone you actually want to pull out in public. And this rumor makes even more sense when you zoom out. The Pro iPhones are rumored to be moving toward under-display sensor tech over the next few generations, meaning Apple needs something to keep the base model feeling current. Dynamic Island is the perfect hand-me-down upgrade, premium enough to feel special, mature enough to be cheaper to manufacture, and recognizable enough to make people feel like they're getting the modern iPhone experience. But there's one major catch. And it's the difference between a phone that looks premium and a phone that feels premium every single time you touch it. Refresh rate. Because even if Apple gives the iPhone 18e Dynamic Island, the display tech could still be the biggest limitation. The big question is simple. Does Apple finally bring smoother scrolling to the non-Pro iPhone, or do they keep it locked behind the Pro lineup? Right now, the biggest complaint about entry-level iPhones isn't performance. It's not cameras. It's that 60 Hz display. Once you've used a smoother screen, even 90 Hz, you notice it instantly. Scrolling feels faster, animations feel cleaner. The entire phone feels more expensive, even if the chip hasn't changed. And here's why this matters for the iPhone 18e. Mid-range competitors already offer 90 Hz and 120 Hz screens at lower prices. That's been a major selling point for years, and Apple has basically dared people to tolerate 60 Hz because it's an iPhone. So if Apple gives the iPhone 18e Dynamic Island but keeps 60 Hz, it'll still be a win, but it won't be the knockout punch it could be. However, if Apple does something like a 90 Hz ProMotion style panel, call it ProMotion Lite, call it whatever, they would instantly change the value conversation. An iPhone 18e with Dynamic Island. And a smoother display would be the kind of phone that dominates sales, because it removes the two biggest non-Pro compromises that people actually feel day to day. Outdated design and sluggish-looking scrolling. But the real surprise in these leaks isn't just the front design, it's battery life. Because under the hood, the iPhone 18e is rumored to be getting a next-generation chip built on a 2-nanometer process, designed for extreme efficiency. And if you're thinking, okay, that sounds like a nerd detail, here's what it actually means in real life. Flagship-level speed, with battery life that could outlast most of the current iPhone lineup. That's the kind of upgrade that makes people switch. Not a new color, not a new wallpaper, not a marketing gimmick. All-day battery that stays strong after years of updates. And the timing of this rumored 2mm chip matters for another reason. Apple is clearly preparing the next era of on-device AI. The iPhone 18e is reportedly being tuned to handle the next generation of Apple Intelligence features without overheating and without draining your battery in 2 hours. That's a massive deal, because AI features are expensive in terms of power and thermals. If Apple wants the entry iPhone to run advanced on-device intelligence smoothly, summaries, smart actions, generative features, system-wide context, upgraded Siri behavior. It needs efficiency more than raw peak performance. And sound efficiency is exactly how Apple could pull off something that sounds impossible on paper, making the budget iPhone feel faster, smarter, and longer-lasting than some older Pro models in real-world use. But Apple doesn't hand you a near-flagship experience at $599 without cutting something. And one specific rumored cost-saving move you need to know about is this. The iPhone 18e may drop mmWave 5G support and stick to sub-6 GHz 5G only. That might sound minor, but it's a classic Apple cost control play. mmWave requires additional antenna modules and design complexity. And for most people, it doesn't matter, because mmWave coverage is limited and inconsistent. But for anyone who lives in a major city with strong mmWave deployment, or for people who want the absolute best peak speeds, it could be the one hardware trade-off that separates the 18e from the Pro models in a way you'll actually notice in specific locations. So before you plan your upgrade, keep that in mind. Apple may be pushing premium design and premium efficiency, but still drawing a clear line to protect the Pro tier. Now, let's talk build quality, because this is another area where the iPhone 18e rumors get interesting. Leaks suggest Apple is refreshing the look and feel with a new liquid glass style finish, paired with a frame that's more resistant to drops and scratches, and that matters because the iPhone 18e buyer is often the long-haul buyer. This is the person who keeps their phone for 5 or 6 years. They don't want a temporary iPhone. They want a reliable iPhone. They want the one that survives daily use, pockets, keys, desk drops, and real life without looking destroyed after 12 months. If Apple is seriously reinforcing durability, on the iPhone 18e, that's Apple admitting the entry-level iPhone is no longer a compromise device. It's the iPhone for people who want maximum longevity, a long-term investment that still looks and feels like a premium phone. But before you get too excited, there's another leak category that could quietly force you to spend more than you planned: storage. Starting storage capacity is starting to leak, and if Apple ships the iPhone 18e with a base storage tier that feels too small for modern usage, 4K, video, high-resolution photos, offline downloads, and AI features that may require more local space, then a lot of buyers are going to be pushed into the next storage tier up, and that's how Apple gets you. The advertised price looks amazing, but the model you actually want ends up being more expensive. So watch the base storage carefully, because it can completely change whether the iPhone 18e is a value king or just a cleverly priced upsell machine. Still, when you put all these leaks together, the iPhone 18e is shaping up to be one of the most balanced iPhones Apple has ever made. Not a budget iPhone. A modern iPhone. Dynamic island replacing the notch. Potentially smoother display tech if Apple finally stops gatekeeping refresh rate. A next-gen 2nm chip focused on insane efficiency and Apple Intelligence performance. A refreshed, more durable build designed for people who keep their phone for years. And a price that right now is still rumored to stay around $599. And if Apple actually delivers this combo, it explains why mid-range competitors would be panicking. Because the moment the entry iPhone looks modern and lasts longer on a charge than anything else in its price class, the competition loses its biggest weapon. Apple is behind at this price. Now, the expected window floating around is March 2027 for the iPhone 18e, with that $599 price target holding steady, at least according to current rumor talk. So here's the question. If Apple launches the iPhone 18e with Dynamic Island and that 2nm efficiency boost, would you wait for it? And if Apple also adds a smoother 90Hz style display, does that instantly make it the best iPhone for most people? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want the latest iPhone 18e leaks, iPhone 18 Pro rumors, and Apple Intelligence updates as they develop, make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next video.